It's Gavin R TV, and we're here backstage with the legendary Chuck D. How you doing?
Good. I just finished about 250 people at Rough Trade, and it's a great store. 1 year anniversary. It was good being over there, and then came straight here, and we go on in about an hour.
Yeah, man. And you're supporting the Prodigy today. How much of a fan are you of the Prodigy?
Um, Greatly because their music in the '90s, they said they were a fan of us. So whenever that happens, I go in to check out somebody heavily.
The state of hip hop right now, a lot of people think that it's moving in the right direction. I know Talib Kweli said recently that the music is being connected to the movement again. Is that something that you share?
Yeah, especially if Talib said it. Um, as far as the state of hip hop, I could see, I could afford to see more groups or more collectives. I think what Odd Future was, set out to do was a good step. Although they're like Iggy Pop, they're like out of their minds, which is cool. But you just need more collectives, so more artists can actually work with each other. So I think when that happens a little bit more in hip hop, it even goes better because people like groups, individuals. It puts a lot of pressure on them.
Who would you say, just to name a few names off the top, who would you say are your favourite artists of this generation, the ones that are going now?
Oh, like artists on my label, so MF 911 out of Detroit, the Heat Mob out of Kansas City, um, PE 2.0, that's Jahi out of the Bay Area, and our latest release is Memphis Jokes out of Memphis, and Gambit, who we recently signed, and he's originally from Poland, and he now lives in Switzerland. So a lot of these artists are under the radar, and they do their thing real hard. As far as the ones that are on the maybe popular vets, a couple of nights ago I saw Stylistic Jones in Planet Asia, and they were in. I live in Mid California, so they came down and tore the place in half. And as far as I think Joey Badass is dope. Um, those are the contemporary 19, 20, 21-year-old MCs. That's kind of cool. I kind of like run my label. I run my artists. We run Rap Station, which is the world's best radio internet work system. It's the best. Nobody's better than us because we're the only ones that have an all-women station, all international station, classic hip hop. So we tell a lot of cats, I say, well, you can go deal with some things that's floating in cyberspace, but when you release a record, you want to come bring it to us so we can service it, so we can support. So servicing is my only thing, how I support the hip hop nation, how I support artists, give them a place where they can get their profile built out and their platform widened. And that's what my main goal is. And whether it's with my label, whether it's with our distribution, we distribute hundreds of labels on Spit Digital and rapstation.com. I use whatever I got to use with PE to try to galvanize that. Sammy Vegas, he's he's EBM, electronic beat music, so he's not electronic dance music only. So, and he has a all instrumental album coming out. He's got a group called East Dual West, where he's the East, the Far East, and his homeboy is Far West, and he's Sammy Vegas. He's from Vegas, and he's putting it down. So we're very eclectic, you know.
Yeah, and you just talked about the she movement as well. I was just going to go into that because I was going to ask how important is it, now for women particularly to get their voice heard, because it seems like it's been such a long time, and it's still awaiting for women to be in that same position as men in hip hop and be at the forefront just as much.
Anything without women is prison. At least the male compartment of prison. So women in hip hop is important, and Moni Love, who's a London native and who actually great friend of mine, also is doing radio in Philadelphia. She has a group called Heresy, and they're dope, and we want them to get more followers than what they have, and we want to build their profile throughout the She movement, they're going to be a highly profiled act.
Recently, you put out a letter that Tupac sent while he was in prison, and it's sort of like it reached out to a lot of people because we don't normally see what the relationship is like between rappers from our perspective as much as obviously the rappers themselves. Can you describe what your relationship with Tupac was?
Older brother. I mean, pretty much, I'm like with Ice-T. You know, if you don't know anything about us, we're your favorite rapper, or now with your generation, your favorite rapper. So everybody goes back and and says that we the OGs. So Tupac was a young 17-year-old kid coming on tour. I was 30 years old, so obviously he's gonna look up to me. People they're like, oh, Tupac, man, did he know you? I said, yeah. Tupac was like carrying those bags along with Tretch from Naughty by Nature. They're 13 years younger than me, so obviously they're gonna, take my advice, and I'm gonna make sure I give great advice so they could do their thing. And I was really taken aback and hurt when Tupac got, killed. So.
Yeah, and just to round off as well, what would you say? I mean, obviously you have such a huge catalog of albums, singles, songs. What would you say is your favorite song? Just if you had to pick one that stands out to you while writing, or even when you hear it.
Welcome to the Terror-Dome, because it explained everything at a particular time. But out of hundreds of songs, after a while, it's like asking Paul McCartney, is it Yesterday or is it Hey Jude? So it's to the latest album, Man Plans, God Laughs. Sometimes it's about making the song so much a part of you. You got to live and breathe the song. That's what makes performance so important. And I tell a lot of hip hop artists, I say, it's great making a record, but you got to make that record live out of your pores. It's got to evolve out of your skin. And then when you wear your song like a jacket, then that means that's the beginning of how you can make it kind of like legendary, because you're digging into people's psyches and their souls.
This is Gavin R TV. Thank you for being with us, Chuck.
Thank you.
Gavin R TV. Subscribe, like, and comment, of course. We'll see you later.